Hey, real quick, today, I think it's fun that we get to have a comedian right after this very somber moment. Craig, who was good friends with Rick, said this. He said, Rick Elias would love it that the morning that we recognize him, we would have a comedian. That's exactly what he'd want at a memorial service for him. And the beauty of that is that laughter and tears are an expression and really an opportunity of worship. And the sad thing is, a lot of times our tears are such a exposure of what's going on the inside, and our tears can be rooted out of selfishness, where we felt like injustice was done to us or embarrassment came down to us. And a lot of times, sadly, so can our laughter. Our laughter can be an act and an outward expression of something that's vulgar or demeaning, but that doesn't mean that God is against it. God is a God of tears, and God is a God of laughter, and the Bible is clear that laughter, right, can be good medicine to our soul. And what I appreciate about Bob, our guest today, is that he's one of the very best at not just being clean as a comedian, but being smart as a comedian, and being just one of the best out there who diligently has just gone out there and just brought joy to people's lives. I met Bob about 10 years ago at a conference, and I sat in the back of the room and watched him just own the room. He's so talented as a comedian, but more than anything else, then I watched him come off stage, and he spent time with every single person who wanted to meet him, every kid who wanted to take a picture. And so on stage and off stage, he just seems to be a real genuine leader. His wife is with us as well. We're so honored to have you here. But hey, can we put our hands together for my friend, your friend? Come on, everybody. Bob Smiley's in the house.
What is up, Liberty? Oh, man. What an honor to be invited here. I am Bob Smiley, or as most of you probably refer to me, not John Christ. No, it's totally fine. I am a comedian. I wasn't always a comedian. I actually was a stay-at-home dad for a little while, but then, we had kids. And had to get out of there. But it's such an honor to be able to be invited on the campus. When Pastor David called and asked me, I was very excited, because at the time I didn't know what the term pro bono meant. I have known David forever, and I don't even think of you as a friend. I think of you closer than that, man. I love you. I think of him kind of like a great-grandfather. So, is he laughing? No, it is. We almost didn't even make it. My wife is over here. We almost didn't make it. We flew into the Lynchburg International Airport, Gash Grocery Souvenir Bait and Tackle Shop. Yeah, we were flying over. I was like, look at that I wanted to give it a hug. And we almost didn't make it on the plane, because I live in Houston. We stopped at the library because I wanted, yeah. Did you guys, people from Houston, did you go through Hurricane Harvey? Like, wasn't that a weird deal? But it was cool to see the community I spent the next 2 weeks after the hurricane, moving stuff out of houses, or what cops call looting. And, but we did. We flew out of, but I stopped at the library to get a book, because I'm a big reader, and I got kicked out of the library last night before we got on the plane, which is weird, because they followed me out. They were like, you can't yell in the middle of the library. And I was like, then don't put pop-up books in the library. Kind of baiting. I was like, oh, Daniel in the Lion's Den. Right? So we got on the plane, and then it even got worse. I got on the plane. I was like, I don't have a book. I'm just going to sleep. But I was walking through first class, and there was like this 3-foot male flight attendant who was like fresh out of the Shire. And no, he was an angry hobbit. He was. All I did was grab a pillow out of first class, and he immediately grabbed it. And he's like, these are for first class passengers. You're in coach. And, I was going to argue, but he'd already put the ring on and disappeared. And it was weird, because my wife and I, we were sitting in bulkhead, which was awkward, because the little flight attendant was, I don't know why he's so angry, but he's just staring at me the whole time. You know how they make the announcements at the beginning? He was like, can everybody's attention, please? We represent the lollipop kid. No, he didn't. I am kind of glad he stared at me, because I've been flying for over 20 years. I've never listened to the rules. There's 2 rules I can't believe they haven't changed on flights. One, I had never even thought about this. They said in the event of a water crash landing, you can use your seat cushion as a flotation device. Okay, guys, think it through. If I'm ever in a really scary crash, the seat cushion I was just sitting on. Everybody get it that's gonna get it? Okay. No child left behind. Okay. The other one is even more dangerous. I thought when the oxygen mask falls, I thought oxygen started flowing, but it doesn't. It says to start the flow of oxygen, tug lightly on the tube. Well, let's rethink that. Who's going to be going 10,000 miles an hour into a mountain going, ah, hee hee? Like, what? So we did. We took off. We landed in Lynchburg last night. I was very excited. My wife has never been to Liberty, and they lost my bags at the airport, which was my fault because I flew. And they were like, "We think we'll get them in." And all I wanted was a toothbrush because I knew I was going to meet you guys this morning. But they were able to get me one last night. You guys have an amazing Goodwill. What? Now I got a soft bristle. Someone's a biter. Anyway. But I was very excited because I love, God did create comedy. Pastor David is so right. Like, I actually read an article one time that laughter is 10 times more powerful than morphine, than our strongest drug. And God just gave that to us for free. Like, how cool is, don't get me wrong. I'm glad God still made morphine. Let's be honest. If I break my leg in half, I don't want my doctor standing over me going, knock, knock, right? But it is laughter. I actually met a guy in the Lynchburg airport last night that had no sense of humor. I was standing behind him at the ATM, and I thought this was hilarious. But as soon as he put in his password, I just went, got it, and I took off running. He did not look like a sprinter. And but it is, and I get in trouble all the time. Like, actually, I was super excited about this show because my show last week didn't go well. I actually was in Houston. I was doing the Texas National Vegan Society. It was all the vegans in Texas, all 7. And and I don't think through my show. I just get up and talk. And so I was talking to my dad backstage, and I didn't even think this part out because I never want to offend anybody. I always want to do clean comedy. I want everybody to have a good time. And there's a lot of things you can't talk about, like because I do a lot of shows in church, like spankings, like how you discipline your kids. Like, a lot of people don't want you to talk. How do you discipline your kids, adults that are here today? Okay. Two of you spank them. The rest of you what? Just stare at them. See, it's a hot topic. There's so many topics. Like, I'm going to be honest. I've got 5 boys that I'm raising, and I spank my kids when they're bad. I do it out of love. I do it under control. I prayed about it. We got the James Dobson Strong-Willed Child book, which, laugh if you want. That helped us a lot because it was thick enough that when I spank them, I told that joke in a church in Michigan one night, and this lady came up after the show, and she was like, "You're advocating child abuse. You should never spank your children." And I'm like, "You're a Christian. Have you read Proverbs where they talk about it?" And she was like, "That was different. That was the Old Testament. They didn't have timeout back then." And I was like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, they did. What was the lion's den, huh?" Because spankings worked on me. That's how I grew up. I grew up in a very loving Christian home, but there were times. My dad used to lead singing at our church because that's a big difference between my dad and I, is our voices, because my dad has this deep, macho Texas voice. And that's what's weird. I'm raising 5 boys, and I'm the dad, so I'm the protector of the family. I'm the protector. First of all, I have the wrong body, right? I weigh 156 pounds. I look like I went to a blood bank and forgot to say when. So, and this is my real voice. Anybody scared? What kind of protector am I going to be? Honestly, think about it. If you were a burglar breaking in downstairs and I was at the top of the stairs, would this scare you? Like, you better not be down there. What is that? I'm the only guy that can stand at the top of the stairs and go, "You better get out or I'll call my husband." Like, what? Not my dad. My dad has a deep macho voice. That's why he used to lead singing at church. My dad had a voice that would echo over the neighborhood. He used to tell me to do something, kids in other households would get up and do it. Seriously, he'd be like, take out the trash. And kids 2 doors down would be like, yes, Lord. And like, so my dad was leading singing one day, and I was sitting down front, like right up front, and my dad goes, on this next song, let's stand to our feet. And I don't know why I said this, but I was like, yeah, everybody, stand to your feet. Good thing he said that. I almost stood to my liver. We never sang that song. Yeah, it was bad. He just shut the book. He walked right down. He picked me up, carried me like a football outside. Yeah, and he's a Tony Romo fan, so he fumbled me several times. Little worried about that one. No, but back to the real story. He really did. He took me outside and spanked me, and I shouldn't have smarted off to him, so I deserved it. But it was so embarrassing because it was right in front of my wife, and why was I talking about that? What did that have to do? Oh, because I was performing for the Texas National Vegan Society. Medication's working. So I did. Anyway, it was a bad show because I talked about, and again, I don't want to offend you guys, but like we grew up very poor, like had to eat cereal with a fork to save on milk. And so we grew up hunting, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Whenever I went out, I started talking about hunting because we grew up hunting. I don't know if this offends anybody, but I'm a huge hunter. My kids love to hunt. I got a 10-point, yeah. We got hunters. I figured I was okay here, yeah. I got a 10-point buck this year, yeah. And it did not mess my truck up like I thought it was going to. But I didn't even think through it. I went out to this, it was a vegan society, and I started talking about hunting. They started booing. They started throwing organic tomatoes, and yeah. But they're vegan, so they weren't strong enough to hit the stage. And no, that's a stereotype. We were talking backstage how stereotypes are, because Pastor David travels a lot, I travel a lot, and we always, like certain stereotypes, you say New York, you automatically think, Italian, like, yeah, forget about it, right? Yeah, California, yeah, like, surf's up, dude, you say Texas, you automatically think, like, really good-looking comedian, and, no, I actually was in Canada 2 weeks ago, and you guys from Canada? Yeah, you guys are supposed to all be nice, and I'm pretty nice, but I got into it with a Canadian. Like, we got in this huge fight at Tim Hortons over who was going to hold the door for who, and seriously, it was getting heated. He was like, after you. I was like, no, after you, and he just kept on, and I was thinking, come on, he's Canadian. He's not going to go to war over this, and don't boo me. He was stereotyping me. I had a shirt with the shape of Texas on it, so he was looking for my gun. And yeah, I was moving around a lot in case he tried to give me a free healthcare exam. And what? No, it went on forever. Thankfully, somebody from Detroit was there, and they came over and stabbed us both. So I love Liberty. Liberty is so awesome. You guys are so much fun. It's nice to be able to just say stuff, because sometimes I get in trouble. I actually almost got in trouble. I was doing a show about a month ago in a third world country called, what was it called? No, it was a third world, Little Rock, Arkansas. And I didn't realize they had renamed it the Bill and Hillary Clinton International Airport. That's the name of it. You guys are getting super icy on me, okay? calm down, Liberty. I am not a political comic. I will never make fun of the Clintons, ever, ever. Hear that? I am the last person that wants to wake up with a mysterious, self-inflicted gunshot wound. That is not me. This is just a story about me getting in trouble at the airport. And it's a good airport. I'm not even going to make jokes about that. Like, it's all paid staff. There's no interns. And no. And I didn't even know that it was renamed the Bill and Hillary Clinton International Airport, because evidently the vote went on forever and the Russians got involved. And but this is a true story. This is when I got in trouble. I got there about 6 a.m. I was ready to fly home, and I was so tired. And the guy was so excited. He was like, "Welcome to the Bill and Hillary Clinton International Airport. May I see your boarding pass?" And I couldn't help it. I was like, "Oh, man." They emailed it to me, but it got deleted. And I'm glad you guys are laughing, because all I remember after that moment was, wow, his hands are cold. And so it is. So we were talking about travel stories, and my favorite travel story happened in Phoenix, Arizona. I was flying out, and this was, are you from Phoenix? Anybody? Oh, okay, yeah. Wow. Not the only one that has medication kicking in. No, I love Phoenix. Although, will you stop with it's a dry heat, okay? So's a welding torch. I don't want that on my body. And this happened years ago, but it's my favorite traveling story. It was when the iPhone first came out. I don't know if you guys remember, but the iPhone came out and it just blew everybody's mind, because you could use it for anything. Even, I was backstage getting ready to come out this morning. I was a little nervous, so I was using the deodorant app. And I know that joke is cheesy, but I like to do it because I always see some people laugh, and I always see a few people like, "Does it do that?" And if you're from West Virginia, you're like, "What's deodorant?" So, I'm so sorry. I can't believe you invited me back. Anyway. No, it was my favorite. This is my favorite story. When the iPhone first came out, I didn't know how to use it, but thankfully my oldest was 7, so he did. And that's not even a joke, but he made a ringtone for me. And this part's kind of syrupy sweet, but I love being a dad so much. And the ringtone that my 7-year-old at the time made for me was, "Hello, Dad. Pick up your phone." And so I was in Phoenix, I was getting ready to fly home, and the iPhone was so new, I just kept listening to that over and over, and then it was my time to go through the metal detector, so I put my phone in the bag, and the TSA guy sees me mess with the bag. He opens it up, he didn't even see the phone, I had a jacket in there, but what he saw was, and this alarmed him, I had a tube of toothpaste, and he was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Dude, I didn't know what to say." I was like, "That's toothpaste. What are you, from Alabama?" And no, I said that, but it was a joke, but he didn't laugh, because turns out he was. Which made him even madder, and he was like, "You can't fly with toothpaste." And I was like, "Dude," he was yelling at me, and I was like, "Dude, calm down. I didn't think it through. Take it. Believe me, I don't want other people jumping up in the middle of the flight and brushing everybody's teeth." Like, has that ever happened? Are there Tartar terrorists out there? Like, ah! Why would they even, ah? Now gargle, go, Allah. So, it wasn't even like terrorist like toothpaste is all I'm saying, right? I'd understand if it was like AIM or Scope, but this is why it's my favorite traveling story. He took my toothpaste, he's just staring at me. He's like, "I'm keeping this, you can go through the metal detectors now." And then he picked up my bag and he put it on the conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt was going in. And right as the bag went into the x-ray machine, someone called me. So all of a sudden you hear coming out of the bag, "Hello, Dad." And he was like, "Is there a kid in there?" I was like, "Calm down. He doesn't have toothpaste." So, but it is, I love traveling around, and I love doing comedy because it allows me to talk about Jesus Christ. It allows me to talk about my Savior, and that's the most important thing, because that's where true joy comes from, is having a foundation built on the love that Christ has for all of us in here, and all of us watching on the web. And we need comedy, you know? I don't know how many of you guys have followed my story, but the last time I was here, I was in a world of hurt. And that's why it was so great to be here, because Liberty, the people that knew what was going on came in and they loved on me and they prayed over me. And just real quick, not to bring this down, but I was married for 18 years. And oh, by the way, I got married December 15th. I'll tell you the whole story, but she's sitting over there and she's an amazing woman of God. And she's just absolutely very cool. But I was married for 18 years, and then my wife just left. She met somebody else with way bigger bank accounts, and and I'm fine with it now, because it was a cool testimony of how God came in. And so for about 3 years, I was a single dad, and I had 3 boys that I was raising, and it was depressing for a lot of the times, but it also was because I've been traveling around the country for years telling people that God could get you through anything. But I'm going to be honest, my life was pretty great up until about 4 years ago, and I've been standing on a mountaintop the whole time. And right then, when I was here 3 years ago, my kids and I were wandering through the valley, and it was so refreshing to be able to stand in front of you guys that day and tell you that God can and will get you through anything in life. We saw that. We saw how he showed up, and he used people. He used people like David Nasser to love on us and pray for us. And, you do hear laughter is the best medicine, but after what I went through, I can honestly tell you, it's Vicodin. No, I'm just kidding. No, laughter did help us. Like my kids and I, we used to laugh all the time, and then we went through a period of time where we didn't laugh. And the first time we really laughed, and I'm not making light of any of this, but it is amazing how God will use laughter. My youngest son at the time, Xander, came downstairs, and he was like, "Hey, is the divorce over?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Oh, there's still some furniture left." And yeah, he was kidding, because there wasn't. And but we were trying to look for the positive, because that's what God wants us to do. Because the enemy wants to put a cloud of depression around us. Maybe you're fighting that right now. Maybe you're sitting in a seat right now fighting, going through something. Let me tell you, God can get you through it. And the first time we laughed, as me and my boys, it dawned on us that it's just me and 3 boys. So we now can touch any towel in our house. It is awesome. We don't have non-touchable decorative towels anymore. And the first time we laughed, and I know this is silly, but my youngest son, Xander, looked at me and he goes, "If it's really over, I'm going to go touch that towel." And we had a towel in our master bathroom that we were never allowed to touch. And he just walked up and he just goes, "Freedom!" Oh, the next hour, we were running around the house. We were popping each other with towels. My oldest son, Coulter, was standing on the couch going, "Woo!" And we laughed for the first time in a while. And God used that to heal us a little bit. That's what God does, God doesn't do this. I just realized I shouldn't have pointed. I don't know, maybe he does. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to heaven and God will be like, "Hey, welcome to heaven. Pick a towel, grab a couch, make it shine." So, but here's what God does, and I saw it firsthand. God shines the brightest light into the darkest places. And a lot of times, he'll use you as that bright light. And so that's why coming here is so important, because Liberty will equip you to go out and shine as bright as you can. That's why it's important to be in the Word. I shared that last time, something my grandmother taught me was read the Bible when you're young. And, my grandmother was like, "It makes me mad that young kids never read the Bible and elderly people are reading it like crazy, because, it's like they're trying to cram for a final." And it's so important, and God will use you. I didn't really mean to talk about all this, but honestly, I thought maybe God couldn't use me anymore. I thought maybe like I was too marked, I was too depressed, that God couldn't use me. And then all of a sudden he started using me and started using my boys immediately. One of the greatest things was a month after we had been faced with all this stuff that we had to do, I actually got a call from a prison just north of our house. And I'd never done a prison before. And they were like, we've heard your story. We know you're kind of broken, but we know you're getting through it. Will you come and encourage our prisoners? And I'll be honest, I was scared to death. I'd never gone. You can only bring your ID and one key. And I picked my sharpest key. And I also brought my 19-year-old son because I thought it'd be good for him to see that, plus if there's a riot, I can outrun him. So I've got 4 more. Anyway, guys, I showed up at that prison not even sure that God could use me. And it was and my son and I were standing in the gym, and they brought the prisoners in one by one. And this is an actual true story. The first one in was classic what you were thinking, like tattoos everywhere and bulging biceps and I was like, I miss my grandmother. And he walked right up to me, and he was like, thank you for coming and just speaking to us. And I was like, dude, you don't even know if I'm funny. And I'll never forget this. He goes, I don't care if you're funny or not. Nobody comes to see us. So the fact that you're here, the fact that somebody cares enough is all the encouragement we need. And then he got kind of emotional. He's like, man, I'd actually love to hug you if you'll put that key down. And and it was so great, guys. It was just a reminder that God can use us, whether we're broken or whether we're on a mountaintop. God can use us, and we've got to be willing to do that. It was awesome. The prisoners were laughing so hard, and they actually made me laugh because I was doing that bit about my voice being really high for a guy, and I was like, pretend you're a burglar breaking in downstairs, and a guy yelled out, don't have to pretend. And it really was so awesome. I kind of ruined it at the end, though, because I was telling them about how Christ can get you through anything and that we're built for community. And then I kind of ruined it because I remembered that the guy that my ex left with actually lived up in that area. So I was like, by the way, if any of you prisoners are getting out soon, love to share that address. And yeah. And I was joking, but the best part was afterwards, they lined up to hug me and my son, and one of them just leaned in and was like, seriously, all I need is a name. And, yeah. So I gave it to him. So, but no, I just want to tell you, man, I was here like 3.5 years ago, and I was broken, but I was still able to go on stage and still able to make people laugh because God can use all of us. No matter what stage of life you're going through, God can use you. And that's why we're built for community. That's why we need to be in church. We need to be around people that just love you and invest in you. And, and it is. So I met an amazing Christian woman about like 2 years ago. I met her. Can I tell the story? It's weird because I used not to be, anybody here on a dating site, like whenever I was first single, they'd sign me, one of my friends signed me up for plentyoffish.com. Yeah. There are plenty of fish, and they're all bottom feeders. Who's going, unless you've been on there, it is just not, it is fake photos. You think you're going to meet Anne Hathaway, you show up, they look like Anne passed away. It is, okay, I didn't ask if I could talk about this, but I'm kind of passionate about this because when I became a single guy again, I didn't realize, all right, I'm just going to say it. Women, if you are supposed to dress for the kind of job you want, can you please dress for the kind of man you say you want? Can that happen? When all of a sudden I was single and my kids wanted me to date, my kids were like, you should date. And at first I was like, I don't know, guys, because I was married for 18 years. I was super faithful. I'm faithful in every relationship. When I hang out with Pastor David, I don't look at other pastors. I don't. Not like, I wonder what his sermon's like. Yeah. I bet he ends on time. So I love him so much. But anyway, I'm a single Christian guy out in the world, and I'm trying to guard my heart and my eyes, and I'm just saying, women, please realize, like, I got so tired of seeing videos just of, women like, I just want a good Christian man who will take me to church and treat me like the princess God made me to be. And I'm like, we need to start living how we say we want to be, is all I'm saying. Like, that is so important, right? Let's live it out. That's what actually, my wife is so amazing. And that's what, we actually did meet online. I hope that's okay to tell the story, but yeah, we met on MySpace. Yeah, it was awesome. We were the only two left. And she's so amazing. And that's what? Oh, there she is. Hey, baby. Isn't she beautiful? She's such a good Christian. That's what attracted me, but she's also really beautiful. Actually, I'm going to tell this I'm going to end on time, I promise. But this is how beautiful she is. 2 weeks ago, we were at a grocery store. We were buying snacks because we were going to watch a movie, because I have this huge, giant TV at Sam's where I shop. And we were buying snacks because we didn't know, it was late, so we didn't know if they'd still have the free sample booths up. And this is how beautiful she is. We walked up to the cashier at the grocery store, and the cashier looked at me and looked at her, and we set our snacks down, and he picked up the divider and put it between our stuff. All right, let's just say out loud what he was saying. He looked at me and looked at her and was like, yeah, there's no way. And then I had a dilemma, because I wanted him to know that she was with me, but I kind of wanted her to pay for her own snacks. So, but no, we did. We met online, and what really attracted me to her was how much she loved Jesus. That was so important, and she has 2 boys, and so we now have 5 boys. It's such a loud but fun house, and please pray for us. People always ask, now that they show, I feel like she is a little younger, but which made me nervous for the first date. But her favorite band was playing in Houston, the Wiggles, and that date was so amazing. I wanted it to go on forever, but it was a school night. And but here's why I want to talk about that. And I'll close with this. But I've been through a lot of stages in life. I've been single, I've been married, I've been divorced, I've been through abandonment, I've been through being single again, and then I'm married to an amazing woman of God. And through all of that, here's where I come out with a message. It doesn't matter what our relationship status is in real life or what our relationship status is on Facebook. The only relationship that matters is our relationship with Jesus Christ. That is the only foundation that will get you through it. So I'm going to end with that. You've got to have a strong foundation with Jesus. You're going to get knocked down. The world is going to attack you. And the only foundation strong enough to stand back up is that with Christ and with that sacrifice and that love that he has. And that should set us free to go out into the world and love on other people. Let's do that, guys. Oh, man. Liberty, I can't thank you enough. You guys are awesome. God bless.
Come on, put your hands together. Bob Smiley. Man. I think this is as good a time as any to go ahead and let you know, by the way, that we did just this week secure John Christ will be with us next semester. You're dismissed. See you later. God bless you guys.